Our journey begins. It is day 125, October 3, 2024, and I think I'm probably going to take a slight break from new lang development, unless I decide to get into it here later during this conversation with you. But I wanted to talk about, I don't know if, again, this is where sometimes language has the inability to express what you're actually thinking. Of course, that could just be, it can, it just takes a long time, essentially. Obviously, language can express basically anything. Like the current languages we have can express basically everything. It's just the efficiency and the ambiguity that it comes with and how quickly it's possible to express the idea. But I guess I could still, in that vein, I could still explain what I'm trying to say in a little different way than perhaps would be typical. So there's a couple, if we imagine sort of a couple different nodes that are going to come together into a certain sentiment or in like feeling that I'm currently experiencing. So these nodes are like, one node is that I know myself, that I've always done the best possible, like given any situation, even if it's been a tough situation, I've done the best that I could. And there's, of course, attached to that node is the idea that obviously I am also human, and so there have been a lot of errors, so that there are many errors attached to that node. But I don't consider that a fault of my own, because it's not that I was actively trying to do not the correct thing. If I did not do the correct thing, it was because I guess there's different ways of framing it, but in general, it was not because I was actively trying to do the wrong thing. It's just because of humanity, having a human brain, given the knowledge that I have, given the resources, all of that sort of thing. So that's one element. Another element is like the situations that I've been put in. So this could be whether just in general being in this world at this moment. I have a lot going for me, just like most people, and I have a lot of things that are not going for me, just like most people. And so this isn't necessarily unique. In fact, I don't think any of this is unique, but I'm just trying to express something that probably a lot of people think about and experience. And so there's a lot of situations where that node of like doing your absolute best somehow attaches to the node of being put in situations that are like, there's no good way to handle that situation. Like, no matter what, someone's going to suffer. And then there's probably the similar node of just doing my best is like attached to that node is like always trying to do the right thing. I guess that's similar, but like truly do the right thing, like in terms of morals and in terms of that sort of thing. Where some people might say, oh, like, this is what most people do, like, that's fine. I'll be like, no, to myself, that is not okay. And so there's that element of being put in these situations where most people do things certain ways, but where I, to be true to myself, have not. And so that those nodes, like, the, it's hard to understand what I'm saying because you don't know which nodes are which. But essentially, the node that I know that I've done the best that I can is connected to that aspect of I've always been true to myself in trying to do the best thing, in trying to do like the actual moral thing. And then also connected to being in these situations where there's no good answer, which often result of that means that I'm the one that suffers. And that's not I'm not saying that out of like, oh, like poor me. I'm saying that out of, that's the sort of situation that ends up happening. That those environments that are completely out of your control and are a result of often trying to do the right things. It could be possible to avoid some of those environments if you skipped doing some of the right things. And so it ends up that it just, you sort of, if you're the good person or you're trying to be the good person, and again, that sort of sounds a bit self-righteous, but I'm not trying, that's not the way I think about it. I'm just saying that because of those situations, it ends up that a lot of times it's tough and you feel kind of beat up, basically. And I guess that was a relatively simple way of explaining that. So I think in a way of reassure, because so like basically right now there's one of these environments where things aren't ideal. There's not really a good answer. There's probably two environments like that. And so really the only answer is to keep enduring through, to keep handling the situations and doing my absolute best, but ensuring also that I remind myself that I am doing my best. Because often in those situations, it can seem like all of your efforts to do your best did not matter, that it basically did not matter at all, because it still looks, or it could look like you weren't trying your best because of that situation. So it's a reminder to myself, and if someone else happens to be watching this, going through something similar, that as long as you have always been true to yourself, doing the absolute best that you can, that is what is the most important thing to be doing. And it's okay if it seems like things are not going well. It's okay if it seems like it looks like you were not trying your best, or that somehow things were your fault, when it was the environment that you were placed in, where even if you did your absolute best, the outcomes would still be what they were. And so I think that's where, at the end of the day, sort of like, there's not necessarily a grand, it's one of those questions where like, is there this grand good and evil, where like, or like grand justice system, where, oh, someday in long life, you'll be able to look back and say, hey, I tried my best, or like, I was doing my best, I was true to myself, I'm happy with myself. well, maybe that's not the case. Maybe even when you get to the end, you'll be looking back and it'll be clear that, or maybe things won't be clear still. So anyway, so those are my thoughts. All right, thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow.